Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live for Law Firm Mechanics. I am Conti Moore Smith. I practice family law in the Central Florida area, and I have the pleasure of talking with Nikki Lomax this afternoon. Want to introduce yourself, Nikki?
Hi, I'm Nikki Lomax. I am an attorney. I'm the chief legal strategist and senior attorney over at Conti Moore Law. I have been practicing law for 20 years,
All right.
21 in a few weeks.
And she is one of the law firm mechanics. What are we talking about today, Nikki? What do we want to help people with who are law firm owners? What are we trying to help them improve today?
Today, we're going to talk about building a high performance team. And it's so important, as you know, when you're trying to grow your practice, to have the right team around you to help you grow. So, we're going to talk about getting the right people on your team.
Okay, so what's the first step? What is the first thing that if we need to hire somebody? What's the first step that a law firm owner should take in that
Well, I
process?
think the first thing you need to do is to decide who you need. Do you need attorneys, paralegals, legal assistant, receptionists, intake specialists? So you need to figure out who do you need on the team.
Right. Okay. And so I think that being a business owner myself, that it is overwhelming trying to hire someone. I usually post on Indeed, and I think I get like what we get 200 or 300 applicants. You're like, like I don't have time to go through this. So, do you want to talk about what we do here and how it's helped us with our process for hiring people?
Okay, so um, part of the process after we post on Indeed for those who send their resumes and such, we use a tool called Spark Hire, and Spark Hire helps us figure out the good apples from people who are just tossing their resume out to whomever. And so with Spark Hire, that allows us to create one way interviews. And with those one way interviews, we ask questions. We ask at least 5 to 6 questions where we have specific information that we want to find out from each candidate. And so they get the link to do the Spark Hire interview. Each question, they're given about 60 seconds to give a response. And whatever the response is, that's what's recorded. They don't get any do overs. And Spark Hire gives you the opportunity to get a little insight into the candidate as opposed to just looking at a resume and saying, okay, well, they look good on paper, but what about their personality? Will they be a good fit? So Spark Hire is a great opportunity to ask some questions so you can kind of weed through all the candidates that apply. It also um, cuts down the time that you have to spend on resumes because when you send the link, not everyone is willing to do the one way interview. And you have to decide whether or not do I want to deal with a candidate that doesn't even want to take the time to do a one way interview so I can get to know a little bit about them before we do an actual interview? So I think Spark Hire was a great tool to add to.
Absolutely. So this to kind of give everybody some more specifics about how we do it. Whether you do LinkedIn, Indeed, whatever your job site you want to use to post a job on. The way that we do it is that we anybody who applies to it, they get the same message. Oh, we liked your resume. We want to learn more about you. We want you to click on the link and to conduct a one-way interview. So literally, we send everybody the same response. So it's not a matter of us having to go through like, well, do we like them? Do they have the qualifications? We don't do that. We send everybody the same general email and invite them to the one-way interview. So from that right there, we go from 200 plus applicants to maybe 20. Okay. And so once you get the actual the one-way interview on Spark Hire, and I'm not getting paid to promote Spark Hire. There may be another platform, I don't know, but Spark Hire has been great to me. But once you get the 20 applicants, then your team can go and review the different videos and then rate them. So like before, we were doing Zoom interviews. So my office manager conducted, all day, 2 or 3 days, Zoom interviews, trying to, kind of thin the herd out a little bit. Now, I can, after I put my kids down, oh, let me go watch these interviews. And I can look at my phone, rate them a 5, rate them a 3. And then after I get everyone's ratings, we can determine who we want to actually do a Zoom interview with. So when I tell you, it cuts down tremendously the amount of time that you spend trying to interview people because they've kind of weeded themselves out by not doing the video. The people who are really serious about the position will take the time to do the one-way video interview. And it's not like we're asking them to answer questions for an hour. They might be on there, for 10, 15 minutes answering questions, if that. And we tell them, hey, we don't need a fancy video. Use your phone, use your computer, use whatever you have. Just answer these questions. And if you're hiring for a receptionist, you're able to say, hey, how are they dressed? Were they dressed appropriately in the one-way interview? Did they have a shirt with holes in it? Was their hair all crazy looking? Like, you're kind of able to say, okay, well, hey, this person might be a good fit in the front. They were well kept. They look neat. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, believe it or not, they will get on these one-way interviews and, not not dress up, not comb their hair, not, what I'm saying? Like, and that tells you a lot. You want someone that looks presentable, right? But you're able to see them, hear them, and look at their resume before determining whether or not you want to spend your time taking the time to actually interview them.
One of my favorite things about Spark Hire is that once they do the interview, your entire team has the opportunity to go in and say, you know what, this person seems like they'll be a good fit. Let's do an additional interview, or let's move them to the next round. I also like that we have a way of going in and we'll say, okay, well, anybody that gets a score of 4 or better, let's move them to the next round. Because that way we are allowing the team to participate in the interview process, and we can see from the interviews whether or not the person is going to be a good fit. You can tell from how they got dressed that day to do the interview. If you're looking for someone to be on the phones, you can hear their voice. You can see their mannerisms to determine whether or not that's someone that you want to be the first impression of the firm. Because remember, when you're hiring and creating a team, your intake team are going to be the people who make that first impression. So you want someone that has a sound quality that is comforting, because we're a family firm. So you want a voice where people are like, okay, it's a warm and inviting voice. That's somebody I feel like, okay, well, maybe this firm's going to be a good fit. So remember, impressions matter, and your intake person is going to be that first impression.
All right. So we post on Indeed. We send everybody the same, hey, we're so happy you applied. We want to learn more about you. The link to the one-way interview. And then we conduct after we go through it, everybody rates everybody. Then we do an actual virtual interview. And then, and we could do a whole segment on this, Nikki. We test them. We give them a test, right? Like, I want to know, you're talking a good game, but can you walk the walk, right? I want to see your attention to detail. So we actually have a test. We could talk about what you can test them on and how we test them based on the position. Mm-hmm. But you want to test these people, right? And so, and what we did at one point, just to kind of, we'll talk about it at our next, tune in to our next live, right? But at one point we had our office manager on the Zoom call with them and had them sharing their screen. So we could see that they were actually the ones answering the questions, right? So there's different things that you can do to try to help, assess whether or not they can actually do the work you need them to do. But we actually give them a test before we take them to the final round. So any closing thoughts, Nikki, about our process, which I think is great?
Well, closing thoughts would be figure out who you need on your team. Figure out your budget for those positions. So when you're building your team, you're building a team that's going to help you move forward, and you can afford to have that team. And be open to the process. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, we got to hire somebody. And you go in dreading it. But think about it this way. This is your opportunity to build your dream team, to move you to that 6-figure business or 7-figure business or 8-figure business, whatever level you're trying to get to. Part of the process is building a dream team. So in order to live your dream, you got to build the dream team.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody out there, make sure that you are following Law Firm Mechanics on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you're following us. We have some great things in store. We're putting together a boot camp for everybody who wants to help grow their firm and to help scale their business. We'll have a boot camp for you guys. So the information is going to be coming soon. Check out lawfirmmechanics.com and follow us on all social media platforms, and stay tuned for our next live. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day. We'll see you soon.